The dash cam footage starts at 11:47 p.m. on January 19th, 2024. You can see it right there in the corner of the frame, the timestamp glowing green against the darkness beyond the windshield. Highway 2, northbound, somewhere between Whitehorse and Carmax. The heater's running full blast, but frost still creeps along the edges of the glass like skeletal fingers. The wipers struggle against heavy snow, each pass revealing only more white, more nothing. I'm Deputy Sarah Chun, Yukon Highway Patrol, and I'm telling you this because someone needs to know what happened out there. Not the sanitized version they'll put in the report. Not the careful language the RCMP will use when they classify this case. The real version. The one that keeps me awake at night, staring at my bedroom ceiling, listening to every creak and groan of my house settling in the cold. The radio crackles. Dispatch. Linda's voice, warm and familiar, cutting through the isolation. Unit 7, you still on Highway 2? I reach for the handset, my fingers clumsy in thick gloves. Outside, the temperature reads -38 Celsius. Without the wind chill. With it, you're looking at -50, maybe worse. At that temperature, exposed skin freezes in under a minute. Your lungs burn with every breath. The air itself feels solid, like you're breathing through wool. Copy, dispatch. About 40 kilometers north of Whitehorse. Slow going. Visibility's maybe 10 meters. Be advised, we've got a possible stranded vehicle reported near the Takhini River bridge. Caller said they saw taillights off the road about 20 minutes ago. You're the closest unit. I check my fuel gauge. 3/4 full. Enough. En route. ETA 15 minutes. The thing is, out here, 15 minutes can be the difference between life and death. I've pulled bodies from cars before, frozen solid, faces peaceful like they'd just fallen asleep. Sometimes they're only a few hours gone, sometimes less. The cold doesn't negotiate. I increase my speed as much as I dare, which isn't much. The snow is coming down sideways now, driven by wind that rocks even my heavy patrol vehicle. The road is somewhere beneath me, I think, but it's hard to tell where asphalt ends and ditch begins. Everything is white. Everything is the same. The Yukon in winter is beautiful in photographs, pristine, endless, a Christmas card landscape. But living in it, driving through it alone at night, you realize it's not beauty you're looking at. It's indifference. Nature at its most honest, stripped of any pretense of caring whether you live or die. The aurora might dance overhead, green and purple and magnificent, but it's not for you. Nothing here is for you. The bridge appears in my headlights suddenly, the metal railings crusted with ice and snow. I slow down, scanning the sides of the road. There, off to the right, about 30 meters past the bridge. Dark shapes in the snow. Could be rocks. Could be debris. Could be taillights. Faint red glow, half buried in the drift. I pull over, or what I think is over, and grab my radio. Dispatch, I've got visual on the vehicle. Appears to be a sedan, off-road passenger side. Conducting welfare check. Copy, 7. Be safe out there. I step out into the storm, and it hits me like a physical blow. The wind isn't just cold, it's aggressive, violent, searching for any gap in my gear to exploit. My face is covered except for my eyes, but even they water immediately, the tears freezing on my cheeks. The sound is incredible, a constant roar that drowns out everything else. I could scream and not hear my own voice. The snow is deep, mid-thigh in places. Each step is a battle. My flashlight beam barely penetrates 5 meters ahead, swallowed by the white. I can see the vehicle now, a dark blue Honda Civic, passenger side crumpled against a snowbank. The driver's side is exposed, covered in fresh powder, but not completely buried. It hasn't been here long. I reach the driver's window and wipe away the snow. The glass is fogged from the inside, which is good, means there might be heat, might be life. I knock hard with my flashlight. Yukon Highway Patrol. Can you hear me? Movement inside. A face appears against the window, pale and terrified. Female, maybe mid-20s, Asian features, wearing a down jacket with the hood up. Her breath creates clouds that obscure her face every few seconds. She fumbles with the door, but it won't open. Frozen shut or jammed from the impact. I try my side. The door groans but gives way, and I'm hit with a wave of air that should be warm but isn't. The engine is off. The car is cold. She's been sitting here with no heat, watching her phone's battery die, watching the snow pile higher against her windows, feeling the cold creep in degree by degree. It's okay, I tell her, though my voice is muffled through my face covering. I'm here to help. Are you injured? She shakes her head rapidly, teeth chattering so hard I can hear them click together. She tries to speak, but can't, her jaw locked up from the cold. Early stages of hypothermia. I've got maybe 10 minutes to get her warm before things get serious. Can you walk? She nods, but when she tries to move, her legs won't cooperate. I reach in and pull her out, supporting her weight. She's tiny, can't be more than 50 kilos, and I can feel her shaking through both our layers of clothes. Getting her back to my vehicle is harder than reaching her was. She can barely move her legs, and the wind has picked up even more, if that's possible. Twice we stumble, and I nearly lose my grip on her. But we make it. I bundle her into the passenger seat and crank the heat to maximum. What tea time is it? Her first words, forced through chattering teeth. Just after midnight. You've been out here about half an hour, according to the call-in. What happened? H hit something. Black ice, I think. Spun out. Phone died. Tried to keep the engine R running, but ran out of gas. Classic mistake. She'd been running the engine to stay warm, not realizing how quickly that would drain her tank and idle. Then she'd had no choice but to sit there, hoping someone would come. Out here, that hope isn't always enough. You're lucky, I tell her, unwrapping my thermos of coffee and handing it to her. Someone saw your lights. Another half hour, and we'd be having a different conversation. She wraps both hands around the thermos, holding it close to her face, breathing in the steam. Thank you. God, thank you so much. What's your name? Emma. Emma Huang. I was heading to Dawson City. Job interview. At this time of night? In this weather? She looks embarrassed. I know. I left late, and I thought I could make it before the storm got bad. Stupid. It was stupid, but I don't say that. She knows. They always know after. I radio dispatch, report the situation, request a tow for the morning when the storm clears. Then I settle in to wait with Emma while her core temperature comes back up. It's protocol to monitor her for at least 30 minutes. Watch for confusion, slurred speech, loss of consciousness. The signs that hypothermia is getting worse instead of better. That's when she says something that makes my skin prickle despite the heat blasting from the vents. There was someone else out there. I look at her sharply. What? When I went off the road. Right before, there was someone standing on the bridge. A person? In this storm? She nods slowly, her eyes distant, remembering. Just standing there, in the middle of the bridge. I swerve to avoid them. That's why I lost control. I feel something cold settle in my stomach that has nothing to do with the temperature. Emma, are you sure? It wasn't a snow drift or a trick of the light. I'm sure. They were wearing dark clothes. Just standing there, not moving. I hit my brakes, tried to swerve, and then I was spinning. She pauses, cupping the thermos tighter. I kept expecting them to come check on me, to see if I was okay. But no one came. I glance out at the storm. The visibility has gotten worse, if anything. The world beyond my windshield is a churning wall of white. There's no way anyone's out in this on foot. Not dressed for it. They'd be dead in minutes. Maybe they were, she says quietly. The way she says it, flat and certain, makes me look at her again. Her eyes are clearer now, focused. Not the confusion of hypothermia. She believes what she's telling me. Let me check something. I grab my flashlight and the spotlight mounted on my vehicle, pointing both back toward the bridge. The beams cut through maybe 15, 20 meters before the snow swallows them. I can just make out the dark silhouette of the bridge railings. Nothing else. No one standing there. But there are tracks. Footprints, barely visible, already half filled with fresh snow. Coming from the south side of the bridge, walking to the middle, then stopping. Just stopping. No prints leading away. I stare at those tracks for a long time, my breath fogging the windshield. Emma leans forward, following my gaze. You see them too, she says. Not a question. I see tracks. Could be from before the storm got heavy. Could be from anyone. There's no one out here but us. She's right. We're 40 kilometers from town, in the middle of a blizzard that grounded flights and closed schools. No one in their right mind is out walking around. I radio dispatch. Unit 7 to base. Go ahead, 7. Linda, did we get any other calls tonight? Anyone else on Highway 2? A pause. The crackle of the radio. Negative, 7. You're the only unit north of Whitehorse. Roads are officially closed now. You're going to need to hunker down somewhere until this clears. There's that highway maintenance station about 5 kilometers north of your position. Should be unlocked. Copy that. What about anyone on foot? Any reports? Longer pause this time. On foot. In this? No, Sarah. What? No reason. Thanks, Linda. 7 out. I put the handset down. Emma is watching me, and I can see she's thinking the same thing I am. Someone was on that bridge. Someone is out in this storm. And they're either already dead, or there's something that doesn't care about the cold. We should go, I tell her. There's a shelter up ahead. We'll wait out the storm there. She doesn't argue. Neither of us wants to sit here any longer, parked beside a bridge with footprints that lead nowhere. The maintenance station is exactly where Linda said it would be. A squat concrete building set back from the road, painted highway department orange that looks brown in the darkness. There's a parking area that's completely drifted over, but I managed to get close enough that we won't freeze getting inside. The door is locked, but I have a master key that works on all the highway facilities. One of the perks of the job. Inside, it's not much warmer, but we're out of the wind, which makes all the difference. I find the lights and fluorescents flicker to life, revealing a sparse but functional space. There's a small office area with a desk and filing cabinets, a kitchenette with a sink and ancient coffee maker, and a back room with some bunks and blankets. The heat is electric, and I get it running immediately. Emma collapses onto one of the bunks, still wrapped in the emergency blanket I gave her from my vehicle. She's stopped shaking, which is good, but she's quiet in a way that concerns me. Shock, maybe, or the beginning realization of how close she came to dying. There's some instant soup in the cupboards, I tell her, rummaging through the kitchenette. And coffee that's probably older than both of us, but it'll be hot. I can't stop thinking about them, she says suddenly. The person on the bridge. Why were they there? I find a packet of chicken noodle soup, expired 2 years ago but sealed, and set it aside. People do strange things sometimes. Maybe they were having a mental health crisis. Maybe they walked away before I got there. You saw the tracks. They didn't walk away. I don't have a response to that, so I focus on heating water in the electric kettle. The wind howls outside, rattling the windows. Snow hisses against the glass in waves, building up in the corners. We could be here for hours, maybe until morning. The storm shows no signs of letting up. My radio crackles. Unit 7, this is dispatch. I grab it quickly, grateful for the distraction. Go ahead. Sarah, we just got a weird one. Had a call from someone on a satellite phone. Says they're at the Takhini River bridge. Says there's been an accident. The bottom drops out of my stomach. Linda, we just came from the bridge. There's no one there. That's what I figured, but the caller was insistent. Gave a description of a blue Honda Civic off the road. Says they saw someone in the car. I look at Emma. Her face has gone pale. Linda, that was the vehicle we just recovered from. The driver is with me. We're at the maintenance station. There's no one else at that bridge. Silence on the other end. Then, Sarah, the call just came in 2 minutes ago. The caller said they're there now. My hand tightens on the radio. Did they leave a name? A number? No. They hung up after giving the location. But Sarah, there's something else. I pulled the recordings from the last few weeks, just out of curiosity. We've had 4 other calls about that bridge. Different callers, different nights. All reporting the same thing. Someone standing in the middle of the bridge, or someone needing help near the bridge. Every time we send someone out, there's no one there. The room suddenly feels colder despite the heater running. Emma has sat up, staring at me. Why wasn't I told about this? I ask, keeping my voice level. Because they were classified as pranks. Wrong number calls. You know how it gets up here in winter. People get isolated, bored, they call in false reports. But now, Linda trails off. Now I'm wondering if they were all seeing the same thing. I close my eyes, trying to process this. For calls, 5 including tonight. All about the Takhini River bridge. All in winter. All describing someone who shouldn't be there. Linda, I need you to pull any records we have on that bridge. Accidents, incidents, anything unusual. How far back can you go? I can check. Might take a while. Are you two okay out there? Yeah, we're secure. Just get me that information when you can. Will do. Stay safe, Sarah. The radio goes quiet. Emma is still staring at me, and I can see the fear in her eyes that she's trying to hide. She's thinking the same thing I am. We drove right past whatever was on that bridge. We're 5 kilometers away from it, and someone, or something, just called in to report us. There's a rational explanation, I say, more to convince myself than her. Someone saw us earlier, saw the accident, and just now got around to calling it in. Service up here is spotty. Maybe their call got delayed. You don't believe that. I'm trying to. I make the soup, and we sit in silence while we eat. The maintenance station creaks and groans around us, settling in the cold. Every sound makes me jump. The wind, the snow, the building itself. All of it feels hostile now, pressing in. Around 2 a.m., my radio crackles to life again. Linda's voice, but different. Strained. Sarah, I found something. I grab the handset. Go ahead. March 15th, 1997. Single vehicle accident on the Takhini River bridge. Driver lost control in a late-season snowstorm. Went through the railing into the river. Vehicle and driver weren't recovered until the thaw in May. That was almost 30 years ago, Linda. I know. But Sarah, the driver's name was Victoria Chun. The room tilts. Emma's looking at me, confused, but I can't focus on her. Say that again. Victoria Chun, aged 28. Worked as a wildlife officer. According to the report, she was responding to a call about a stranded motorist when she lost control on the bridge. A pause. Sarah, she had the same last name as you. Lots of chins in the world, Linda. She was born in Vancouver. Moved to Whitehorse in 1995. Another pause, heavier this time. The report lists her next of kin. Parents, David and Margaret Chun, Vancouver. Sister, Sarah Chun, age 2. The soup cup slips from my hand, splashing on the floor. Emma jumps up, but I wave her away. My ears are ringing. That's impossible, I whisper. My sister. I don't have a sister. My parents never. But even as I say it, I'm remembering. Fragments. A woman with my mother's eyes, holding me. A photograph I found once when I was 10, tucked in the back of my mother's drawer. A woman in a uniform, smiling. When I asked about it, my mother had gotten quiet and said it was no one, just an old friend. I'd never asked again. Sarah? Linda's voice is gentle. Did you know? No. They never told me. There's more. After Victoria's accident, there were reports. People claiming to see someone on the bridge, always during snowstorms. Always standing in the same spot. The reports stopped for a while, then started up again a few years ago. I've got 7 documented calls, not counting tonight. My hands are shaking. I set down the radio and walked to the window, staring out at the storm. Somewhere out there, 5 kilometers south, is a bridge. And on that bridge, in a storm just like this one, my sister, a sister I never knew I had, lost control and died. Why? I ask, not sure if I'm talking to Linda or Emma or myself. Why would she be? Why would people see her? I don't know, Linda says quietly. But Sarah, all 7 previous sightings? They were all people who were about to have an accident on that stretch of road. Victoria's been seen right before black ice incidents, whiteouts, mechanical failures. Every single time, the person who saw her survived. Either they slowed down in time, or they called for help, or they crashed and someone came to get them. I finish. Like Emma. Emma saw Victoria and swerved, crashed, but survived because she called in, because I came. She's trying to warn people, Emma says softly from behind me. She's trying to stop what happened to her from happening to anyone else. I turn to look at her. You believe that? You believe in ghosts. She meets my eyes steadily. I believe I saw someone on that bridge who saved my life. I don't care what you call it. The wind hammers the building, and the lights flicker. For a moment, we're plunged into darkness, and I hear Emma gasp. Then they come back on, dimmer than before, but enough to see. Linda, we're losing power here. I'm going to sign off and save battery on the radio. We'll check in at first light. Be careful, Sarah. And, I'm sorry, about your sister. Yeah, me too. I set the radio down and turn to Emma. Try to get some sleep. We're stuck here until the storm passes. Might as well rest. What about you? Someone needs to stay awake. In case. In case what? I don't answer. I don't know what I'm watching for. But I take up a position by the window, looking south, toward the bridge I can't see through the storm. Hours pass. The storm continues its assault on the world. Emma dozes fitfully on one of the bunks, wrapped in every blanket we could find. I drink the terrible coffee and watch the darkness, and I think about a sister I never knew. What was she like? Did she have my mother's laugh, my father's stubbornness? Did she think about me, her baby sister, when she was up here in this frozen wilderness? Did she die alone, her car sinking into black water, knowing no one was coming? Around 4 a.m., the storm begins to ease. Not stop, but ease. The wind drops from a howl to a keen, and the snow falls more vertically, less driven. Visibility increases from nothing to maybe 30 meters. Enough to see shapes, enough to see movement. That's when I spot them. Footprints in the snow, coming from the direction of the bridge. Fresh, cutting through the drifts that have piled around the maintenance station. Coming right up to the building, to our door. I'm on my feet immediately, my hand on my service weapon. The tracks are clear, deliberate. Someone walked here, through the storm, through conditions that should have killed them. And they're outside. Right now. I move to the door, listening. No sound except the wind. I look back at Emma. She's awake now, sitting up, staring at me with wide eyes. Someone's outside, I mouth. She shakes her head frantically, but I need to know. I need to see. Slowly, I unlock the door and pull it open. Cold air rushes in, but nothing else. No one. The footprints lead right up to the threshold, then stop. Just like the ones on the bridge. Like whoever made them simply cease to exist. I step outside, flashlight in one hand, weapon in the other. The beam cuts through the dimming storm, illuminating the tracks. They're definitely footprints, human, boot-shaped, the right size. But they're wrong somehow. Too perfect. No drag marks, no slipping, no irregularity. Like someone walking calmly through the snow, not fighting through a blizzard. I follow them with my light, back toward the road, toward the bridge. They're evenly spaced, purposeful. And then, about 50 meters from the building, they do something that makes my blood freeze. They turn around, 180 degrees, perfect pivot, and they lead back toward the maintenance station. Then they turn again, and again, like someone pacing, walking in circles around our shelter. Around us. Sarah, Emma's voice from the doorway, sharp with fear. Get back inside. I'm backing up, keeping my light on the tracks, when I see something else. Another set of prints, smaller, coming from a different direction. And another. 3 sets total, all circling the building, all fresh, all impossible. I'm at the door now, and Emma pulls me inside, slamming it shut behind me. We lock it, then brace it with a chair for good measure, though I don't know what good that will do against something that doesn't leave tracks when it walks away. What were you thinking? Emma hisses. You can't go out there. I had to see. I'm breathing hard, my weapon still drawn. There are 3 sets of tracks. 3 people, walking around this building. But I didn't see anyone. Emma, there's no one out there, but the tracks are there. She's pale, trembling. Your sister. The other accidents. How many people died on that bridge? I pull out my phone, down to 20% battery, but I have just enough signal to do a search. It takes forever to load, but when it does, my stomach turns over. Takhini River Bridge. Built in 1985. Site of 9 fatal accidents over the years. 9 people, dead in the winter, their vehicles going off the road or through the railing. Victoria was the 7th. The last 2 were in 2018 and 2021. 9 deaths. 9 people who died in the cold and snow, alone, waiting for help that came too late or not at all. They're trying to warn us, I say aloud. Like Victoria, they all are. Every person who died on that bridge, they're trying to prevent more deaths. By walking around our shelter at 4 in the morning? That's not a warning, Sarah. That's... She cuts off as we hear it. A sound that shouldn't be possible through the thick walls and the storm. Knocking. 3 sharp raps on the door. Pause. 3 more. We stare at each other. Neither of us moves. The knocking comes again, patient, insistent. Not aggressive, almost polite. Like a neighbor asking to borrow sugar. Don't open it, Emma whispers. I'm not insane. But the knocking continues. 3 raps. Pause. 3 raps. A rhythm. And then a voice, muffled but clear. Please. I need help. My car went off the road. It's a woman's voice. Young. Terrified. Exactly how Emma sounded when I found her. Exactly how anyone would sound, stranded in this storm. It's a trick, Emma says. Don't listen. Please. I'm freezing. Please help me. I move toward the door before I realize I'm doing it. Emma grabs my arm, but I shake her off. Because what if it's real? What if someone actually needs help, and I'm standing here listening to them die because I'm scared of footprints? Who's out there? I call through the door. Silence. Then, my name is Victoria. Please, I'm so cold. The name hits me like a punch. Emma's grip tightens on my arm. We both heard it. My sister's name, spoken in a voice that could be hers, asking for help she never got. "That's not her," Emma says firmly. "Sarah, that's not your sister." "Please," the voice says again. "Please, Sarah, help me." It knows my name. I step back from the door, raising my weapon again. My hands are steady, but inside I'm fracturing. That voice, that name, the pleading tone that crawls under my skin and makes me want to tear the door open. Consequences be damned. "You're not Victoria," I say loudly. "Victoria Chun died in 1997. Who are you?" The knocking stops. The voice, when it comes again, has changed. Flatter, colder. "We're trying to help. Why won't you let us help?" "Help how? By terrifying people? By leaving impossible footprints?" "We're trying to warn them. The bridge is dangerous. People die. We don't want more of us." "More of us?" The phrase hangs in the air like frost. "You're the ones who died," I say slowly. "All 9 of you. You're trying to warn people away from the bridge." "Yes." Simple. Certain. But they don't listen. They see us and swerve. They panic. They crash anyway. We save some, but not enough. Never enough. Emma has moved closer to me, her face lit by the dim overhead lights. "Then stop," she calls out. "If appearing on the bridge makes people crash, stop doing it. We can't leave." The voice sounds almost sad now. "This is where we died. This is where we are. When storms come, when people come, we try to warn them. It's all we can do." I think about Victoria, trapped on this stretch of road for 27 years, trying to save people the way she couldn't save herself. 9 souls, bound to the site of their deaths, reaching out in the only way they know how, terrifying people to keep them safe. "What do you want from us?" I ask. "Don't forget. Tell people. Make them understand. The bridge is hungry. It takes and takes. We're trying to hold it back, but we can't do it alone." "The bridge is hungry," Emma echoes. What does that mean? But the presence, whatever it was, is gone. I can feel it. The way the air pressure changes when a door closes. The atmosphere in the room lightens. The oppressive weight lifts. I open the door, weapon ready, but there's nothing. The footprints are still there, but they're fading now, filled in by fresh snow as the storm picks up again. In another 10 minutes, they'll be completely gone, like they were never there at all. We don't sleep the rest of the night. We sit together on one of the bunks, blankets around our shoulders, watching the windows as the storm rages back to full strength. We don't talk much. What is there to say? By 7 a.m., the storm has finally broken. Dawn comes late this far north in January, but when it comes, it's like a blessing. The sky lightens from black to gray to pale blue. The wind dies. The snow stops. The world is transformed into a crystalline landscape that would be beautiful if I didn't know what it hid. I radio dispatch. Linda answers immediately. She's been awake all night, waiting. "Sarah, are you okay?" "Yeah, we're fine. Storm's passed. We're heading back to town. I've got a tow truck on the way for the Honda." "And Sarah, I did some more digging. About the bridge. And there were complaints back in the 80s when they built it. The Indigenous Council said the location was wrong, that they were building on a bad spot. There were stories about that bend in the river, about people disappearing there long before the highway went through. The construction company ignored them, said it was superstition." I look at Emma. She's listening, her face grave. 9 people dead in 40 years doesn't seem like superstition, I say. "No, it doesn't. What are you going to do?" "My job. Get Emma back to town safely. Write up a report. Recommend increased patrols on that section of highway during winter storms." That's it. After everything that happened, I think about Victoria, about the impossible footprints, about the voice asking for help. What else can I do, Linda? Put in an official report about ghosts? Request an exorcism? I guess not. But Sarah, maybe tell people. Warn them. Isn't that what Victoria wanted? Maybe. We disconnect. Emma and I pack up the meager supplies we used, make sure the heaters are off, and lock up the maintenance station. My vehicle is completely buried in snow, and it takes us 20 minutes to dig it out enough to drive. The sun is fully up by then, bright and hard off the endless white. The drive back to Whitehorse is silent. We pass the Takhini River bridge in full daylight, and it looks ordinary. Just a bridge, metal and concrete, spanning a frozen river. The railings have been replaced multiple times over the years. I can see where newer sections are welded to older ones. Band-aids on a wound that won't close. I slow down as we cross, and Emma grips the door handle tight. But nothing happens. No figures appear. No voices call out. In the daylight, with traffic starting to move again, it's just a bridge. But I know better now. We both do. I drop Emma at the hospital to get checked out properly, give her my card, tell her to call if she needs anything. Then she's gone, and I'm alone with my vehicle and my thoughts. I should go home. I should file my report and sleep for 12 hours. But instead, I find myself driving to my parents' house on the edge of town. They're both retired now, living in the same small house they've been in for 30 years. My mother answers the door, surprised to see me in uniform at 9 in the morning. "Sarah, is everything okay? Can I come in?" She makes tea while my father hovers, both of them knowing something's wrong, but not asking yet. When we're seated at their worn kitchen table, the same table I ate breakfast at every morning as a child, I pull out my phone and show them the accident report from 1997. My mother's face crumbles. My father puts a hand over his eyes. "We were going to tell you," my mother says quietly, "when you were older. But then you were older, and it seemed cruel to burden you with grief for someone you'd never known. She was my first daughter. From before I met your father. She was 10 when we got together, and your father raised her like she was his own." My father nods, his voice thick. "She was a good kid. Brilliant. She loved the outdoors, loved helping people. That's why she became a wildlife officer. And when she got the job up in Whitehorse, she was so excited. And then she died," I say softly. "Alone, in the cold. Her car went through the bridge railing," my mother whispers. "They didn't find her until spring. By then, there wasn't much to recover. We had a funeral, cremated her, scattered her ashes at her favorite hiking spot outside Vancouver. But she's not in Vancouver," I say. "She's still on that bridge. She's been trying to save people for 27 years. They both stare at me. I tell them everything. Emma, the footprints, the voice, the 9 dead bound to that stretch of highway. When I finish, my mother is crying silently, and my father looks older than I've ever seen him. "We should have told you," he says. "You had a right to know. And if if she's still there, trapped there, Sarah, what do we do?" I don't have an answer. I'm a highway patrol deputy, not a priest or a shaman or whatever it would take to give 9 troubled spirits peace. But I think about Victoria standing on that bridge over and over, watching cars approach, trying desperately to warn them, knowing that her warning might be what kills them, but unable to stop trying. "I'll tell people," I say finally. "I'll make sure every officer, every highway worker, everyone who drives that route knows to be careful at the Takhini Bridge. I'll push for better lighting, warning signs, maybe even a reduced speed limit. Whatever I can do to make it safer." "Will that be enough?" my mother asks. "I don't know, but it's what Victoria would want. She was trying to help. We should too." I leave my parents' house and drive to the RCMP headquarters. I file my report, carefully edited to remove the supernatural elements, but emphasizing the danger of that particular stretch of highway. I recommend increased winter patrols, better signage, and a safety audit of the bridge structure. My sergeant listens, makes notes, promises to follow up. He doesn't ask why I'm so passionate about this particular bridge. Cops don't ask those questions. Over the next few weeks, I make it my mission to drive that section of highway as often as I can. Day shifts, night shifts, every storm. I'm looking for stranded motorists, black ice, mechanical failures, anything that might turn into another tragedy. And I find them. Broken down trucks, confused tourists, locals who should know better. I help them all, get them to safety, send them on their way. I never see Victoria. Not again. But sometimes, in the worst storms, I feel her. A presence, just at the edge of perception. Watching, waiting, ready to warn the next person who comes too fast around that curve. Emma texts me a few times. She made it to Dawson City eventually, got the job, decided to stay in the Yukon. She says she thinks about that night often, about how close she came. She asks if I've seen anything else unusual. I tell her no. It's a small lie. Because unusual is the wrong word for what I experience on those late-night patrols. Unusual suggests something rare, something outside the normal pattern of life. But what I've learned is that the dead watching over the living, the past reaching out to protect the present, that's not unusual at all. That's just love, persistent and unbreakable, refusing to let go even when everything else has been taken away. It's April now, and the snow is melting. The Takhini River is breaking up, ice cracking and flowing downstream. The bridge stands solid, ready for another year. By summer, tourists will cross it every day, taking photos of the midnight sun reflecting off the water, never knowing what happened here, never knowing who watches over them. I still drive this section of highway more than I need to. Call it habit, call it duty, call it a promise to a sister I never knew, but who saved countless lives and death. The other 8 are there too. Their names are in the reports, though the reports don't say they linger. Michael Chan, 1989. Sarah Blackwood, 1994. James Norton, 2003. The list goes on. 9 names, 9 ghosts, 1 dangerous bridge, and me, driving through the darkness, watching for taillights in trouble, listening to the radio crackle with calls for help. Living the life Victoria would have lived if the bridge hadn't taken her. Doing the work she started. Sometimes, on the clearest nights, when the aurora dances green and purple overhead and the stars stretch forever above the northern wilderness, I stop my vehicle in the middle of the bridge. I get out, despite protocol, despite the cold, despite everything. And I stand where she stood, looking at the same view, breathing the same air. I know you're here. I say to the darkness, the stars, the river below. Thank you. For trying. For not giving up. For saving Emma and all the others. The wind picks up, rushing through the pines along the riverbank. It sounds almost like a voice. Almost like words. Tell them to slow down. Tell them to be careful. Tell them we're watching. I will, I promise. I am. And I get back in my vehicle and continue my patrol, north into the endless night, keeping watch over a stretch of highway where the dead refuse to rest and the living are safer for it. The Takhini River Bridge recedes in my rearview mirror, ordinary and innocent in my taillights. But I know the truth. I carry it with me every shift, every mile, every call. The bridge is hungry, and the dead are holding it back, and somewhere in between is where I live now. A highway patrol deputy with a sister she never knew, driving through the darkness, trying to prevent the next tragedy. Because that's what Victoria would do. That's what they all would do. And it's the least I can do in return. The dash cam keeps recording. The timestamp keeps counting. The highway keeps stretching north, endless and indifferent. And I keep driving, watching for the next person who needs help, the next life that can be saved. That's my job now. That's all of our jobs, the living and the dead together, watching over this frozen wilderness, this beautiful, terrible place that takes and takes, but sometimes, if you're lucky, if you're careful, if 9 ghosts are watching over you, gives back. I radio dispatch. Unit 7 to base. Go ahead, 7. All clear on Highway 2. Continuing patrol. Copy that. Stay safe, Sarah. Always. The radio goes quiet. The highway stretches on. And somewhere behind me, I know, Victoria is standing on her bridge in the moonlight, watching for headlights, ready to warn, ready to save, ready to do it all over again tomorrow night, and the night after that, and every night until the bridge finally lets her go. I don't know if that day will ever come, but until it does, she's not alone. None of them are. Because I know now. We all do. And knowing, we can help. We can warn. We can save who we can save. That's all any of us can do. Living or dead, we keep trying. We keep watching. We keep hoping that this time, just this once, no one else will be added to the list of names, the roster of ghosts keeping vigil over the Takhini River Bridge. The aurora flares overhead, and I drive on into the northern night, carrying my sister's legacy, honoring her sacrifice, doing the work she died trying to do. The tape keeps rolling. The story continues. And out there in the darkness, the dead keep their eternal watch. This is Deputy Sarah Chun, signing off. Drive safely. Watch for ice. And if you see someone standing on a bridge in a snowstorm, maybe, just maybe, listen to the warning. They're trying to save your life.